Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning to this platform. I am glad that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. If you are new, my name is Ramaila, and on this channel it's all about learning, growth and contribution. Now before I even continue with my APC series, let me just take a moment to apologize. I feel like I was like APC series and then I disappeared for a couple of weeks and now I'm coming back. But before I start APCing, let me start preaching and talking about the importance of knowing when you have a lot on your plate. Guys, if you have a lot going on, focus. In English, reduce. You can't do everything, you can't be everything, you can't do a lot all in one go. And I've basically been busy, you know, at work. There's been a deadline, there's been a lot of work going on, so I had to know my capacity as Lesotho and not want to do a lot. So I do apologize, but I'm glad to be back on my APC series. And just to do a recap of what APC is all about, it is a single case study that attempts to simulate a real life scenario, and it focuses on you as a chartered accountant at the point of entry, stepping into a scenario that you would be given if you were newly qualified CA. Now we don't know what industry you'll be in, and the point of it is to really assess your technical capabilities and your professional capabilities, because that just means that everybody is fair game, right? You can't come from a different firm and think that you've got an advantage. We are all in the blank. We are all going to write this exam as new, fresh eyes in this paper. So that's just a recap of what APC is. And basically a few things that I'll be covering in this video is your board course, APC groups, assignments, assessments, the packs, and also the final APC exam. Now, just to start on the board course, Celeste did mention it so beautifully in my previous video. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. I'm going to link it up here. So she did mention that choosing a board course is a personal choice, guys. You have to assess your clientele, your work-life needs, your family needs, whatever is working for you, to see which board course is appropriate for you. Now, from my own personal knowledge, there's 3 board courses that I know of. We have UCT, which is the one that I did. You have UJ's board course, which is called APT, and then you have Endunamo, which is a fairly new professional program, and they just got their accreditation in 2020. One of the most interesting things that I heard about them is that they are 100% black owned, one of the first professional programs to be black owned, which is click for the melanin. You know, we love to see black people winning. So those are the 3 board courses that I know of, right? I can't speak on Endunamo, I can't speak on APT because I didn't do them. So I'll give you my first view of UCT and basically the pros and cons of UCT. One of the biggest pros that I can think of at the top of my mind is that with each assignment, they literally gave you feedback on each question as to like what you did wrong, what you should be improving on. It was amazing because it was personalized. It was related to how I answered, which was great. The other thing is that UCT had this program that it's built, guys. It's intentional. They start over the foundation phase and then they end it off with the mastering professional competence, and just this journey that they take you on is well structured, right? The assignments were also great. I think I'm also going to speak about them as a con, but I mean the assignments were great. They sent out weekly emails to keep you abreast with current affairs, and I feel like when you're writing APC, you don't know what's important, right? Everything that's happening in the year seems like it's important. So every Friday they would send us an email and they'd give their commentary on what was going on. I remember we got information on like the Bitcoin, and then we also had the KZN looting that was happening in our year. Man, it was a lot going on, but they kept us in the loop, which was great. The cons though, man, you guys, those assignments, it was too much. Like, I feel like officially, unofficially, our busy season in the division that I'm in is from January up until April, May. Ne? But me personally, as Lesego Ramaila, my busy season was from January up until December. So I feel like I didn't have time to do those assignments. There was just a lot of information being thrown to us. There were like weekly lectures, there were assignments that had to be submitted, and they put pressure to say if you don't submit, you're not gonna pass the board course, and you go in a panic because 2 hours before it's due. You know, and I'm not lying, because it's not that I didn't want to do my assignments, it was because time was just not on my side, and I kind of had to make it work. And I really, yeah man, it wasn't great, it wasn't nice. The other thing that I really, it's not that I didn't like, but their scenarios, their testing was a bit airy-fairy. Like for me, I like to think that I'm technical now that I look back, right? Because the fact that they were asking about topics that I knew nothing of. I remember one of the assignments was a non-profit organization, and then they asked about IFRS for SMEs, and then they asked about IFRS 8. Man, in English, it was a mess, man. They was just asking about things that for me I was just uncertain of, and I had no familiarity in, which in a different perspective is also a pro, because as a newly qualified CASA, you're not gonna know what challenges you're gonna be facing, right? So it's good that you think on your feet and you are introduced to new ideas and to new concepts. But that's just my 2 cents, guys. That's just what I have to say. The second thing that I would like to talk about is your groups. We see these groups, yeah man, it's tricky. Like groups for APC also, man, let me give you my experience. Né? I literally took a gap year after I didn't pass my CTA year, right? And then I went back into academia, right? And then I started my training contract. So when I was there, I didn't know anybody who was in the same academic year as me, because essentially those people were managers at that point in time. So people, when they started off their groups, they went with what they knew and who they knew, with the people from the universities. Other people were just friendly with each other in the firm and in different firms, so they formed groups. So I was without a group. I was with my friend Nombulelo, and we were looking at each other like, girl, what's our plan? You know, because we were the same age. We not on record time, you know, which is also not a bad thing, but we're not on record time. So it's like the situation, like how do we come over it? So we went on the UCT, I think it's their portal. We were looking for group members, and we found a group, but there was a lot of resistance in the group in the sense of learning, right? I feel like we weren't growing from this group that we were in, but we were making it work up until it felt like a bit too late. We were already writing our second assignment, and we weren't still happy with our group. But as God would have it, we found Celeste, Bianca, and Offense, and we merged, and that group was amazing, is amazing, guys. I won't lie. Like, Nombulelo challenges the way you think. Like, she doesn't take this is the answer for anyone. She will ask you why. Did you think about this? Did you consider this? Like, she's that girl, right? And I love her for that. You have Offense, who is creative in his accounting. I won't lie, that guy's mind is very open. He is just innovative with the way he thinks about accounting. You have Bianca, who is very practical, very like to the book, guys. She knows exactly what she's saying, and it's not wrong. That's the thing, she's smart. Then you have Celeste, who is like a genius, a boffin, a working textbook. Like, literally, this girl can dissect scenarios, situations. She is extremely technical, right? And then you had me, that could like kind of think about things and bring them together. Like, I felt like a part of me was in all of my group members, and when we came together as a group, I felt very secure in my group. I was like, Nombulelo, we are doing things, girl. And guess what? We didn't pass. We didn't pass the second assignment. assessment, and I'll tell you why. I know exactly why we didn't pass, because we were so in awe of our group members and the quality of their work that it was very difficult to want to adjust it, because these people are so brilliant that you didn't want to change their information. You just wanted to keep it as it is. So everything that they gave us, we put in the file. Guys, our file was massive. It was full of technical knowledge. It was amazing, you know. It was full of concepts. It was amazing, but it wasn't enough for us to pass because we just didn't make it our own. And that's why I am so grateful that I was given the opportunity to write this up. I say opportunity because when it was happening, it didn't feel like an opportunity. Hey, I just felt like UCT was out to get me. I just felt like they really were not trying to make me a CA, and I was angry, you know. But looking back now, I feel like the SAP was an opportunity for me to go back to what made me pass my undergrad, my CTA, my ITC, like going back to the basics, the things that made me pass. I write, guys. When I study, I write. When I study, I teach. Like for me, I need to read something, then I need to teach it. That's just how I learn. So I had to go back to those habits because I was just Googling information. I was just doing things just for just, you know, but not the way that works for Lesego. So with the SAP, I literally went back to the things that made me pass, and I was writing down my notes. I was teaching back the concepts that I was learning to my group members. I was thinking about concepts in a way that was practical to me, and that is why I was successful in the SAP, right? And just to go back to assignments, right? The other thing that helped us with preparing for the assignment was the fact that we used a Google Drive. Now, I used to underestimate Google and just Excel and just Word in general. But having a Google Drive saved us so much time. Like each person respectively would do their research and we'd put everything on this Google Drive. We even called it APC Dream Team or something like that. But everything that we found was useful in the period, we put in that drive. And so that is what sustained me in the SAP as well, right? So yeah, that was assessments. It was a lot, but we made it. Now the controversial one, it's still controversial, it will remain controversial, is the packs. Now I can't step into the detail of packs because even me, it's very tricky, but you will hear of these things called packs, right? And so how the APC works is that you have your pre-release period, which is your 5 days, right? Kabama day 3. There are some candidates, they call themselves the big boys, you know, from one of the firms up there. They released this thing called a pack, and it's basically candidates that are also writing APC, but they believe that their research is holier than thou. So yeah, everybody, this is what we say the scenario, the case study is all about. We've thought about all the issues, we've thought about this, which is extremely dangerous because there was a bit of controversy that happened in the previous year where there was confidential information of a client that was leaked out. Now guys, in as much as you are a trainee, you are obligated to comply with the CPC, and one of the fundamental principles we all know is confidentiality. So you don't know what information might be exchanged in a pack, so you want to stay away. This comes with understanding your group members and having trust in your group members. Like there was a point where for the final assessment, right, the packs were like, guys, where are these packs? But I trusted my team, I trusted myself, I trusted our thinking and the way we thought about these issues, and I was like, there is no way I want to be associated with these things. Please do not send them my direction. If you are in contact with them, I don't want to be associated, right? So please, like, really invest in making sure that your dream team is a dream team. If it means that you reassess your group members halfway through the year, do it. It took us maybe 4th attempt until we got the right group and we were all successful at the end. So if you need to chop, cut, you know, mix and match, do what you got to do so that you are successful at the end of the day. And that brings us to when you are writing your final SAICA board exam. If you want more information on the SAICA board exam, visit their website for more details. But this 5-day period just before you write your final is an emotional roller coaster. Like, I feel like we are 2-time graduates writing APC, right? We have passed a board exam. We are 20 months in our contract. We are success-driven people in our profession, but for some odd reason, we reduce everything that we've done to I might not pass, right? And it's more of like I'm in doubt, I don't know if I can do this. We forget that like we have all these accomplishments behind our name, but it really is challenging mentally, right? So for me, I prayed so much in that time, guys. I was centering myself. I think from the moment APC started, I was praying, but I was really praying before the exam, because a few things can throw you off. It's no longer about, are you technically smart? Are you that professional? You know, it's all of those and then some for that day, you know. So a lot of factors can play a role in you passing and you not succeeding. So I had to center myself. You need to make sure that you're in the right frame of mind. And our 5 days were planned, they were efficient. There was no that there's a link there. We all knew what needed to be done. Our Google Drive was ready to go. We already had templates from when we were writing the second assessment as well as the SAP. When I say templates, I mean for ratio analysis. We already had our Excel sheet with formulas already there. We already had like this template of our summary of the business and the case study, like what is the business name, is it IFRS, is it IFRS for SMEs, who are the main stakeholders, what is the industry, what is the main source driver of revenue, what who are the board of directors. Like, it was a template that was like ready to be completed once we got our information. So all of that stuff was ready to go. Your file must be ready to go, as in it must be empty but ready to go. You must have your stationery, you must be prepared, everything must be there, right? And I love that we were so prepared for those 5 days. So just in summary, all 5 days. Day 1, we got our pre-release, we identified our triggers, we met after like 2 or 3 hours, reallocated our triggers, and that day I used it to really get into the case study and really like understand the industry and what was happening. Day 2 was also that, reading the case study, doing the research, doing what was allocated to me, but also doing the things that weren't allocated to me, because at the end of the day, it is me who's writing APC on my own. So I can't just research the things that were allocated to me. I must research tiny bit of the other triggers, but knowing that my team members are going to go into the detail, but I still need to be familiar with their triggers. On day 3, we got together, we exchanged our research, we tried to make that meeting as short as possible, and we really had thought about all the issues that we were facing. And to be quite honest, it felt like every day I was having an epiphany of the situation. It was so familiar. Like, this case study, I was living, breathing this scenario. Like, I was thinking differently about the case study, about the issues, the what ifs, like everything that UCT was trying to build in us, it was coming together. Like, I could feel what they were saying all this time. It was all coming together, and I was so thankful. But that was only the grace of God, guys. So pray. Day 4, really also understanding the scenario, breaking it down, making sure all my summaries were there. And let me not downplay the fact that I was doing what works for Lesego. I was writing my notes, guys. When my group members gave me the research that they did, it was printed. It was like Word documents on the drive, but I had to print it out. But before anything went into my file, I would write out the summary or my understanding of what the paragraph was saying before it lands up in my file. I don't care how beautiful Celeste's auditing paper was, and it was always amazing, guys. I'm telling you that if you put information in your file that is not relevant to you is not going to help you. So no matter how beautiful Celeste's packs were, or this amazing idea that Ofense had, I literally had to make it my own. So that's what I did. I was writing down and only adding things in my file that I had looked at in the form of writing or summarizing, but never like a white document in my file. See me kill me. My file was like this when I went into that exam, because everything was in here, you know. Day 5 was all about bringing everything together, praying even harder, but also for the spirit of calm, because now your nerves get to you guys. It's like, this is the moment you've been waiting for, what you've been working for a couple of years now, you know. It's almost at the end, and I didn't want to think about what would happen if I pass, because that equally came with what happens if I fail. So all I was thinking about is affirming myself, my daughter, my family, and how they've been there for me. Like, I was in gratitude that day, guys. I just had to center myself. And although on the day of the exam things took a shot left, that were not in my control, that were not in anyone's control, I still remained calm. I feel like the Holy Spirit was like sitting on me, because if it was up to me, I would have wilded out on that day, because yeah, man, 1 December did not go according to anyone's plan. But yeah, we are here, we are successful, we are successes, we are happy that we got over it and we got through it. But just as a word of encouragement, guys, it is important that from the get-go, from when you are in your board course to up until the very last day where you write your SAICA APC exam, that you really immerse yourself in the process. Choose your board course based on what's working for you. Make sure that your group members are people that feed you and challenge you, and don't just be friendly just because you guys are friends. Your friends are not going to make you pass. What's going to make you pass is people that feed you in your knowledge, in your way of thinking, people that challenge you. And if your friends do that, it's a bonus. But you don't just stay in a group for the just. Your assignments, please try and do them as best as you can. I'm not one to speak on them because I was dezelling, but if I was given the opportunity correctly with an importance of these assignments need to get done, I would do them correctly. Your assessments, take the feedback that you get to heart and make sure that you apply what your markers are saying. And in closing, stay away from the packs. Trust in who you are, what your team has been doing, what your group has been doing, and go back to the things that made you pass in your undergrad, guys. In your CTA, in your ITC, we don't pass by mistake, guys. The steps of success are not, you don't stumble into success, you know. We worked for it and we walked into it intentionally, which is how you should also see APC. Like, there's people that have managed to pass it. They have, like, they do different strategies. You will hear different opinions, different views, but at the end of the day, you are on your own journey. Make sure to make it count. But I do hope that you guys found this video fruitful and that you are commenting in the section below so that we can interact. Let me know which board course you are doing, what fears you have with your APC group, maybe even your fears that you have with just APC in general. And I'll be sure to get back to you with some nuggets for days. Hopefully I'll have my group members here just to close us off with our APC series, so that we can do like a good 360 of all views and opinions, and just not what I have to say, but also what they have to say and how it can help you. So I hope you guys do join me in my next video. Don't forget to like, to comment, to share, and to subscribe. And yeah, all the best with your week and with your future endeavors. Good luck with APC. Bye.